Hello, welcome back. Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now with the Lancia Stratos from Italeri, and this is part 13 of what's turning into a mammoth build. So if you haven't been following from up to now, best go and have a look back at the history. But basically we've built up all the chassis so that we can get the body aligned, and then I noticed that the rear arches were all out of shape and too big and everything, so I've actually cut them down. Go and have a look at part 12 and you'll see me actually hack all these off and then glue them all back on again. So it's all glued back on with sprue glue, which as we all know shrinks a lot, so I'm leaving all this to do all its shrinking and stuff before I start sanding it, because it's pointless sanding it now and then coming back to deal with loads of shrinkage. So that's that. And as we can see, when we fit this on, let's get rid of these bits of tape. When we fit this onto the body, we can see that we've got the roof nicely lined up. I've done some packing. I had some plastic card here on the front, and I've done some sanding and stuff. At the moment we're only after a rough shape. We'll do the final sort of fine bits at the end, but you can see here that we've got these front sections are sticking out too far. I've always had a concern with the length of them. I've narrowed them down even from what the kit was, but they need to come down some more. So what I do want to do actually is just get rid of that bit of a kick on the end of there, because that's going to mislead me into actually having that arch in the wrong position. What's the other side like? Yeah, I've done exactly the same on there. Like, I've put a little kick back on it, so it looks like that forward section is too far forward. That should improve things. There we go, it lines up now, look, pretty much. Okay, so what we've got to do now is narrow these. So what I'm thinking is I don't necessarily need to narrow the bottom in, but what I'm going to try and do is cut a pretty much straight line through here, because it's going to be a lot easier to cut a straight line than a curve. Alright, so I'll cut that through there and then see if I can just break everything away from the body. The sprue goo, this is almost solid, so it's going to be a complete nightmare. It may be worth just literally sanding it back with some really coarse sanders and then filling in the holes, because I think there's probably more plastic than holes in there. It's very solid. We shall see. What I really probably ought to do is remove the body from the chassis to do this, because I'm going to be cutting. Let's see how we get on. But basically I'm thinking a straight line down through there, and then probably a lot of cut round here, get most of it off and then move it back in. But let's see how we get on. As you can see, they're both basically pretty much solid. Let's see how we go. Right, so let me get my, I'm going to use my big red saw. This is my big one for cutting off resin and stuff. I was talking to John about this last night on Moss's channel. Basically what I'm going to try and do is just cut along here. I've got to watch where we're going. I'm not worried about making a mess of it, but I don't want to go slicing through the body up there where it needs to be good. Okay, so I think I've gone about as far as I'm going to go there. So let's get my little, wherever it is, my little trumpeter saw. Here it is. Bloody, not very good at all, but it's great for little jobs like this. So I'll see if I can get that into there. Yes, I can. Just get a few strokes to make some room for the blade. I can probably then come around like this and even cut a curve with this little blade. You've got to be so careful with these things. It's designed to cut on the pull. There we go, it's going now. Okay, so we've got that whole section there hollowed out. As we can see inside, there's loads of plastic and stuff, which is going to stop it moving about at all. So yeah, I've made a rod from here and back here, haven't I? Right. Just cut through, see how we go, and see what happens really. So now we need to cut some plastic away from in here. So I'm going to cut. Someone made a great comment in one of my videos. They said Never cut towards your thumb, cut away towards your chum. It's easier to get a new chum than it is a new thumb. I thought that was great. Okay, so here I've got a cut towards my thumb. So I'm just going to take some material out from here. God blimey. You can see now why I haven't got my hand very close, because it's just going to, like that, it's just going to kick and slide about at any point. As I say, neatness is not the concern here. It's just getting it in, getting the arch narrower. Okay, so this is going to be a complete and utter nightmare because it's basically solid. I really do think I should take it off the chassis, but I'm not sure how on earth I would hold it if it was taken off the chassis. This is when you kind of regret doing all the lovely additional strengthening work you've done, and you didn't really need to do it. So it's starting to come in. What I need to do is get in here and start doing some carving. I'm going to get some carving done, try and hack all this center section out of here and see where we go. Okay, so after much cutting and everything, we got it off, and basically there you go. You can see all the mess that's inside there, but we've carved all that back, and now that's going to basically go on there. We're only after the rough shape. Remember, we're going to do the final shaping afterwards, but that's how that's going to go. Excuse me. So my cough is pretty much gone. It only seems now that I only seem to cough. In fact, I won't glue this on yet. I'll do the other side first. Otherwise, when I'm hacking this other side around, I'm going to knock it off. So I've now got to go and do the same on t'other side. Back in a mo. Alright, so both sides hacked off now, and basically roughly sort of ready to fit on. So what I'm going to do is use my Tamiya white glue and sprue goo. So what I'm going to do is start off with some Tamiya white glue on there, all the way around, and this will help the sprue goo to bond to the plastic. Because the glue and the sprue goo will work together, and the glue will work on the styrene. I mean, you can just use the sprue goo, but it's quite warm, and if it starts to dry a bit fast, it may not get enough bite. So I'm going to put plenty on here. I'm probably going to distort the front edge, but I'd rather have too much there than too little. That gives us something to work with when we want to sand it back. So I'm going to get that on there a bit sharpish, so I can get stuck into the other side. Okay, so you can see that's gone on there like that. Just rub the excess glue away and push it into the joint with your thumb, whatever. And that will make sure that we can see we've got alignment for the correct shape. And then that rest of it there, it can just wait. So what we'll do now, we will quickly grab the body of the rear clam, offer it up, and just check. As we can see, it can come back a bit, come up a bit closer. There we go. We can always pack it out with plastic card if we need to. Make sure we keep that alignment down there, the fore and aft alignment. There we are. And that, my friends, is good to go. You can see that line there. You can see just how much we've come in. That just makes it look so much more reasonable, in my opinion. Right, we're going to do the same on the other side. As I say, this is basically a rough shape to work from, much like you would do if you were making a buck. You know, to make your fiberglass mold, you need a buck. So use anything, bloody old bits of wood, anything, just pack it out to get that shape. Now in this case, on these here, they're going to be solid and never seen inside. Obviously on those rear arches, I needed to be able to keep the inside nice and neat as well, because when the back's up you'll see the inside. So, but with these it doesn't really matter at all. Okay, so we've got plenty of sprue goo in there, so we'll come along and grab that body and just stick it on like that. There we go. That's on there. Just squeeze it in, get it sort of level on the top edge. Got so much sprue goo built up on the edge here that the top don't want to go on. There we go. Right, I'm going to grab a bit of tissue and get rid of that spilt glue there, because I'll put something down in it and that'll be that ribbon. So we can offer up this rear clamshell, hold it in the correct position and just move that arch around accordingly. And there we go. There we are, that's that done. And I think already it looks better. You can see again, that's where the other one was. You can see how much we've come in. So more than happy with that. So what I'll do now is grab some more sprue goo and just lay it in there to bridge those gaps. And that'll give us something to work with in a few days. I seem to wait for days and days and days with this thing. And this model's been going on for ages. We haven't got the body done yet. It's such a bloody mess. But, as I say, if you don't want to do all this, as suggested by some of the viewers, you could just space the wheels out, but I just think the arches look stupid. Right, so what we can do now is grab a couple of pieces of tape. Grab a couple of bits of Tamiya tape and stick them on there. And another piece on there. And then we can get rid of all this tape because it's all knackered, it's all had its day. And then we'll get some fresh tape on here, hold all that together. Just like so. And we can leave that now for a good 3 or 4 days and let the sprue goo do its thing. I'm going to put some sprue goo in the bottom of there because we've got a gap. Put some into there. That will pull its way in. Bloody stringing everywhere. There we go. So I'll put that upside down for a minute, let that go in. Put a little bit on the other side as well. I just noticed we've got a little gap on there too. we'll put a little bit in there. And that'll capillary its way in, or wick its way in, whatever you want to say. And there we are. We can put our hinges back in if we want to, but we don't need to. Not at this stage. We're just roughing out at the moment. There we go. Just have a look at this side again. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. There we are. Right, I will see you all back in a few days. It'll be like that for you, but it'll be a few days for me. Okay, we are back. Just a quick little segment here. As I mentioned in my monthly roundup with the Stratos, you know that we've reshaped these rear arches and everything by now. So basically, what we have now is this reshaped area. Now I'm going to take a 200 grit sand or 220 grit sanding stick and a pair of jeans to clean the stick off, and basically just keep sanding. Now, as I mentioned in my monthly roundup, which I recorded yesterday, the 1st of May, today is the 2nd, where these edges are here, I'm using totally plastic, as styrene or whatever, because basically we don't want filler on these corners, because if we have filler in there, even if we just did something like that, it would actually chip it. It would probably knock quite a big chunk out of it. So we want to make sure we've got styrene on these corners, on there and on the body here as well. So you can see it's all built up with styrene, and this is why these videos have become sort of so far and few between, is because what I have to do is put the sprue glue in and then leave it for at least 48 hours. This has been in here for 24 hours, and I don't know if you can see, but I can still, yeah, it's still not hard. I can push that into it, so it's not ready to be sanded yet. I can sand it, all it'll do is shrink back, and I've got to put more in then, so it's just a pointless exercise. It just lengthens it again. But basically it's a case of coming in here and getting all of this nicely sort of blended in and everything. But you can see there now, I'm going to get this video out so you've got something to see, but basically you can see there now that we've got this completely reshaped. You can see there where the old arch was and where the new one is now. So I think we've improved that a lot. And I say again, I don't know why on earth Italeri have decided to do this way. It really does, it's crazy. You know, they could have had a separate piece to glue on here, I suppose, but really having these edges is just stupid. So there we go. So that's been part 13, I think, unlucky for some. And as I say, it's May the 2nd, but I just wanted to do, it's not a very long video, but I just wanted to get something out there. I mean, it's not a very long video as far as time goes, but as far as, yeah, as far as the length of the video goes, but as far as the time that I'm actually spending on this, it's just crazy, and most of it is just sitting around waiting for things to dry. But as you can see, we're not scared of using a big coarse stick on it. Just get it all sanded, get it all square, get it all level, everything's nice then, and then job done. Okay, so there we are. Right, I will see you all soon. Well, I'd say soon. It may be longer than we think. I think actually we're really getting them. You can see that seam there is pretty much done. Pretty much the same on the other side. So we should be able to start getting some finishing work done on this, which would be nice instead of just roughing it out all the time. And I need to get in there and get that all sanded out and smoothed out as well. It's, I don't know why I've kept that bit of plastic there. That was the piece of plastic that came out of the inside there. I'll just make something to replace that. So there we go. Right. See you all soon. for part 14, guys. What a mess. Dear, dear, dear. Bye for now.